Call to order of a regular meeting, Goodyear City Council, 28 April 2008. May I lead everyone, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please provide enlightenment in our planning this evening and prudence in our budget making. Protect our employees uniformed and those who are not uniformed. And please protect those serving this country in the countries of Afghanistan and Iraq. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Councilmember Lord won't be with us this evening. Could I have a motion to excuse her, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Souza and a second from Vice Mayor Antoniak. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself from the next one because of there's an expenditure on there for HDR.
Okay. Now move to approve and ratify expenditures for March 2008. Are there any comments or questions on the expenditures?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I do have one question. As I was going over these bills, and that was a charge of $63,496.50, charge to buildings, and the vendor's name is the City of Avondale. What are we leasing from the City of Avondale?
Services.
Chief Brown?
Would you guess?
Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Sousa, that is our 1/3 of our payment for the Advocacy Center,
Okay,
and they are the fiduciary agent for that, so all payments would go to them.
very good. Thank you, sir.
And when is the grand opening of that? Let's mention
That
it.
is, it's on the 9th,
Okay.
so,
What time? Do you remember?
It's in the morning.
yeah, I believe it's at 10 o'clock, something like that.
Okay, so
Yeah, everybody should be getting invitations to that, and very excited about that opening.
It's an important event.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Any others?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Yeah. Did I get a motion and a second?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve and ratify the expenditures?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Councilmember Cavalier and a second from Councilmember Holland. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now move to communications, and we'll start with the CERT class. And let's see, Tim Newville. There you go.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, and to the council. I am Tim Newbill, the emergency manager. I'm here to present our CERT class 081. I want to thank you all very much for your support. I'm happy to say that we did not injure Councilmember Holland when she came, but Councilmember Lord did lose a limb. But this class was so good that they reattached it. So what I'd like to do, Mayor, is call them by name and have them stand if that's okay. Okay, for class 081, we have Lilia Mutka, Scott Hopper, Shelby Moncada. I'm not sure if you all know this next young lady, Maxine Hill, Paula Shelley, Barbara O'Connell, Janine Van Leeuwen, Terry, well, we affectionately call her Tag Griffin, Dean Graham, William Middleworth, and I'm going to mispronounce Mary's last name, Mary Berseman. Wonderful. Janet Diggs, Charlotte Caffetz. I think y'all may know who she is as well. Ivan Ramos, and Andy Gilbert. This is the class 0801, and I just want to just say a few things about them. We had a total of 17. Of the 17 that came through the CERT class, all 17 of them actually signed up to have a desire to be CERT volunteers. And of those, 10 would like to be City of Goodyear volunteers, so they have already submitted their their paperwork to be volunteers for that. We have 2 that would like to be instructors for the CERT class. We have another 2, Scott Hopper, who had a safety day in his neighborhood, and then Janine Van Leeuwen also, they had a safety day at the school, which put information out about the CERT program. And then we have 8 individuals that are from this class alone that are already enrolled in the state class at the Department of Emergency Management at the state level. So they are looking to receive continual training. As a matter of fact, there's a CPR class tomorrow that I think most of them will be attending as well. So this is a very, they are here to support the city of Goodyear, and they are very energetic class. And along with that, I don't want you all to think that I'm teaching classes by myself. As a matter of fact, I did not instruct one class. They talked about me bad enough, but I did not instruct the class. But Ron King, Linda Dillard, Bob Marshall, who's here with us, and then we had Jim and Teresa Orloff, who are volunteers that have been through the CERT class and went through the instructor training. So they also instructed, and we have a host of others. So this is our 081 CERT class, and I want to thank you all very much for allowing us to come and be able to present them to you, Mayor, and to you, the council.
Thank you, Tim, on behalf of the entire council and the staff, and actually the 56,000 residents of Goodyear. We thank you for what you're doing. You are really a superb group. Those who are going to volunteer to work with us in City Hall and other places, raise your hand so we get to see you again. Oh,
Goodness.
that's great.
Terrific.
I appreciate that very much. But this is important to us, and all the classes have been very, very fine. But I've never heard so many volunteers as this one. So compliments to you, Tim, and to every one of you. Thank you for serving your community. And Maxine, you wanted to say something? Oh, okay.
Hi, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
On behalf of our class, we actually applaud the mayor and the city council for offering this program as well as all of your other similar programs. And we got so much out of this program. We wanted to show our appreciation to not only Tim, but to his entire staff. And we prepared certificates for them, and I hope you would humor me so I can read at least one, because they're all the same. So Tim, if Tim could join me, I can read this and share that with you all.
Washington?
It's,
First.
the certificate reads, it's Community Emergency Response Team, Class 081, Certificate of Appreciation, and it's awarded to each one of our instructors, and it reads, we, the CERT 081 class, thank you for your exceptional instruction and enthusiasm in educating us in disastrous preparedness. With your teachings and assistance, we have a good understanding of the CERT organization and are prepared to handle ourselves and others in natural and hazardous disasters. We are able to perform light search and rescue, apply triage methodology in disastrous medical situations, attend to victims with compassion, and treat their minor to immediate first aid needs. We have knowledge to identify precursors to terrorism, as well as additional background in practicing fire safety. The training and hands-on experience we received are invaluable, and will extend to others as we share our newfound knowledge. We applaud the City of Goodyear for bringing the CERT program to West Valley residents and organizations. This program provides a win-win position for all. We thank the outstanding and tremendous instructors, staff, and volunteers associated with CERT. You are an inspiration, and your efforts and support are truly appreciated. With our thanks, appreciation, and warmest regards. And the recipients of our certificate of appreciation will go to, of course, Tim Newbill, Linda Dillard, Sharon Carlson, Dr. Jeff Thomas, Dr. Nancy Schaefer, Mike Mahoney, Jim Orloff, Ron King, Darren Green, Bob Marshall, P.J. Miller, and Larry Carson. Thank you. appreciate you taking the time.
No.
Problem.
We thank you for coming. And thank you for everything you've done for us and will be doing over the succeeding years. So thank you.
We're going to run now.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. They got me. They got me.
Now we have our second item, and I think it's Officer Jeff Rogers. Is that correct?
Evening, Mayor and Council.
Hello.
My name is Jeff Rogers. I'm the president of the Goodyear Police Officers Association. Just wanted to take a brief moment tonight, basically, along with some of the other executive officers in our association, board members, and Officer Melrose. I'll let them introduce themselves, if I may.
Mayor, council members, Officer Jason Hahn, Goodyear Police Department.
Mayor and Council, Officer Jason Costello, Goodyear Police Department. Mayor, council members, Officer Chad Waltz.
We'll save you the trip.
Actually, you guys should be clapping these two gentlemen over here. They're the ones that saved my life out there. I just took a bullet. That's all I did. Officer Ricky Melrose, Goodyear Police Department. I think you guys should introduce yourselves.
Mayor, council, Officer Dave Bryant, Goodyear Police Department.
Mayor, council, Officer Josh White.
Okay. Didn't want to get too emotional. Mayor and Council, we basically wanted to take this opportunity to say thanks to three different entities, although one family: the City of Goodyear Management Council, the Goodyear Police Department, Chief Brown and his organization, and Chief Gaylord and the Goodyear Fire Department. On February 18th, when Officer Melrose was shot, it was the first Goodyear police officer ever shot in the line of duty. It was a very serious incident and something that we had never dealt with before as a city and as a police department. It could have gone horrible. It went wonderful. From the city side, the city management side, all the way, chief of police, chief of fire, all the way down, we saw a seamless organization come together. It personified what we think that we stand for. And it was one of those wonderful opportunities. Although it took a horrible situation to bring it forward, it really reminded us of how wonderful the city is and the police department and fire department. We wanted to just take that opportunity to thank you. We've got a couple of little plaques that we'd like to present, if we may. And I'll go ahead and just read this. To the Goodyear Fire Department, in recognition of your support following the shooting incident of Officer Ricky Melrose and K-9 Officer Zip on February 18, 2008, presented by the Goodyear Police Officers Association. Chief Gaylord. Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate it. And this reads the same. I won't read through it again. We'll save some time. It's to the City of Goodyear in recognition of your support as well. If I may present it to you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And also the same to the City of Goodyear Police Department, if I can have Chief Brown. That's all that we had. It just, again, thank you for creating and having the family that we have in the City of Goodyear. It was a horrible situation, and it brought us all together, made us stronger, and it was a wonderful thing from the top all the way down, not one problem. And And I don't know of too many other cities that could have an incident like this and have the success story behind it, so thank you.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Where's Officer Zip?
I
K-9.
can explain it. Sadly to say, Canine Zip, while he was being exercised, he actually pulled a ligament in his knee, so he's gimping around like his dad right now. He's, what's funny is his right rear, so when he was sitting next to me, we're both hobbling with the right leg up. So, he's at home resting. He's on bed rest for like 21 days on a small confined kennel until it heals up. That's why he's not here today.
Thank you. Rick, it's good to see you around.
Thank you. Nice to be around.
Thank you very much, and I think we're all impressed with the camaraderie that exists within the police and fire departments, and the close relationships, and maybe most importantly, the brilliance of the performance that you provide for all of us day in and day out, and the willingness to sacrifice. So we thank you for that. Opportunity now for any citizen to comment on any subject which is not on this evening's agenda. Any comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none, move to consent agenda, and I'll ask, okay, first off, consent B and C are postponed. Okay, and ask our city clerk to read consent items A and D through G by title only.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a special meeting on March 28, 2008, a work session on April 7, 2008, and a special meeting on April 7, 2008. Item D, reappoint David Ellis, Edmund Peck, and Chuck Sullivan to serve on the Fire Building Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2010, or until they are replaced or reappointed. Appoint Mark Pavone and John Echeverry to serve on the Fire Building Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2010, or until they are replaced or reappointed. Reappoint Fred Thonin to serve as an alternate on the Fire Building Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board in the event one or more board members are unable to attend a scheduled meeting for a 2-year term expiring on December 31st, 2010, or until he is replaced or reappointed. Item E, accept the dedication of tracts H and O as created by the final plat for Palm Valley Phase 8, South Parcel, to the City of Goodyear by instrument of a special warranty deed. Item F, authorize staff to enter into a contract with Kimley Horn for professional services for the design and construction administration of the communication network for the Goodyear Sports and Recreation Complex in an amount not to exceed $197,915. Item G, authorize the city manager or his designee to, 1, take all steps and execute all documents and agreements necessary to exercise option to purchase the property reflected in Exhibit D of the Ballpark Village Wood Corporate Campus Agreement for conveyance of real property dated May 29, 2007, and recorded on June 7, 2007, at Recorder's Number 2007-0659896, Official Records of Maricopa County, Arizona, which property consists of approximately 43 acres and which is to be improved for use by the Cincinnati Reds as part of the city's Major League Baseball spring training facility. 2, take all steps and execute all documents and agreements necessary to open an escrow account to handle the acquisition of such property. And 3, to expend $3,750,000 for the acquisition of such property.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Anyone on council wish to remove an item? Councilmember Cavalier?
I'd like to remove F and G, as I will have to recuse myself for those 2 items.
Oh, okay. All right, well then we'll, okay.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Also, on G, I have a question.
Okay, do you want to ask the
I would
question?
like to ask a question.
Okay, I guess you better read. Can we do the others first?
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Then why don't we do A and D and E, correct? A, D, and E? Is that
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the set. A,
Second.
D, and E.
A, D, and E?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Holland. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Antonio.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Then Councilmember Cavalier is recusing himself. We now have F and G still, and Councilmember Osborne.
I guess this is probably for Mr. Dalkey, this question.
Brian?
Brian? It states here that we're purchasing 43 acres. I just want to make sure I have this all understood. 43 acres for $3,750,000 or something. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Osborne, that is correct. We're estimating it's about 43 acres that we'll actually purchase, and that is just based on estimates right now. We're going through the surveys and those types of things will be completed, and we'll have an exact amount, but that's pretty close. And the purchase price is per the contract that we had with them, a total of $10 million for originally, of which $6.2 million was for Phase 1, the Indians and the ballpark, and the remainder, $3.75 million, is for the second team. So it was not. It was tied to a lump sum amount for the entire operation.
I guess what my question or my concern, and I know it's in contract, and I'm not disputing that. 43 acres for $3 million, $3,750,000 is a heck of a deal, and I don't know what that land will actually appraise for. But since we're doing paperwork, and this is maybe totally out of the ordinary, but my question is, would the Wood family be allowed to get some kind of, I hate to say charitable tax write-off on the fact that we're getting this so inexpensively?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Osborne, need to be very careful.
I know,
on this.
because I don't understand it, so that's why I'm
But
asking the question.
if you step back in time, we originally, when we went out to try and secure a site, it was for 120 acres. We were looking for 100% donation with exchange of development rights around that. So that was part of the original deal, if you will, or the contract. Now, can they get write-offs and those types of things? Don't know. I mean, if they end up having appraised, and certainly that'd be a question they can take to their tax accountant. But I'm not sure.
And I'm asking this because once we approve this and it's all done, and if I found out that there was some way that I could have asked this question ahead of time to help the Wood family, that's why I'm asking it now. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. And there's also several considerations as part of this, $10 million in infrastructure, et cetera, and accelerating the development. So there are a lot of considerations as part of the overall bundle of these contracts. But, I'm not sure, Mr. Attorney, if there are things we can elaborate on past that.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Antonio?
Will we be seeing this, or is this is it? We're exercising the option that we already created 24, 36 months ago, something like that. What, 24 months ago, 20 months ago?
About 18 months ago, something like that, yes.
Are we going to see a signature authority, that sort of thing, such that that kind of question maybe could get cleared up between now and then?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you vote to approve it tonight, I doubt that you'll see it again. This is exercising the option, which you've already approved the contract in which this option's in. This is more or less authorizing the expenditure.
And that's not, I'm sorry, that's not, I understand that, and that's not the issue. I guess what I'm asking is that, for example, what do you think that this land appraise for?
Mr.
No
Mayor,
idea.
Councilmember Osborne, it'd be tough to speculate.
Okay.
Really would.
That's why I just ask if there was some way that we saw this as being, I hate to say gift, but if it was, then I would just like to see that was somehow counted, written.
I don't think that's within our purview.
And maybe it's not, and maybe that's totally on their side. But I'm just, I know that's a good deal, and I know that it's contracted, and I'm just putting it out there. So
Okay.
that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we have F and G. F and G. Any further discussion? Okay, could I have a motion to approve consent F and G, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilmember Souza, a second from Councilmember Holland. All those in favor of the roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Souza?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Antoniak?
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to business, and then Councilmember Cavalier will return to the dais. Okay, Katie, 2003-7 General Plan Progress Report.
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council, members of the public. I'm pleased to be able to present to you a progress report on the 2003-2013 City of Goodyear General Plan. This is an informational item. There's no formal action. This progress report doesn't provide or any new policies. It's just simply providing a progress report on our existing general plan for you tonight. I know many of you were very involved with the creation of our general plan, but I would like to take a moment and give some background information on our current general plan. State statute requires that each municipality in Arizona have a general plan that guides growth and development. The 2003-2013 City of Goodyear General Plan meets this requirement. The creation of the city's current general plan was overseen by the General Plan Advisory Committee, known as GPAC, which was led by Mayor Kavanaugh and which Vice Mayor Antoniak was a member. The 16-month planning process included 23 meetings. It was ratified by voters on November 4th, 2003, with 80% of voters approving the plan. The Arizona Planning Association awarded the city the Best Comprehensive Plan Award in recognition of our general plan. State statute also requires that municipalities create an annual report that updates legislative bodies and the public on the progress of the implementation of the general plan. Now, the state currently isn't actively enforcing this requirement, and even when staff began our initial research, we contacted other cities in Arizona, and we couldn't find evidence that other cities are actively creating this type of report each year. However, it is really important that we do provide a status of our general plan. It allows staff to provide the council with a comprehensive update of all the planning and development activities that are going on. It allows us to increase our accountability to the public, since this is their plan for growth and development. And as we learned when we presented this report to the Planning Commission, it also gives us an opportunity to show members of GPAC that their hard work and dedication didn't go to waste, and that the plan that they helped to create is being implemented by the city. Since the adoption of the general plan, the city has grown considerably. The city has added over 9,000 dwelling units and 25,000 residents in the last 4 years. The city has also grown by over 70 square miles, and the municipal planning area has expanded by 110 square miles. The city has gone from the 17th to the 11th largest in Maricopa County.
Can you show those numbers again? That was interesting.
A lot of this growth is due in large part to the Sonoran Valley General Plan Amendment in and of itself, which we'll see later on in the presentation.
Is 188 versus 246 annexed land?
Yes, the city is the annexed land, and the MPA is the municipal planning area, which MAG sets as our area that we do land use planning for. The general plan included 10 topical chapters referred to as plan elements. Each of these chapters set goals, objectives, and policies relating to its topic. There are also near-term implementation activities which are meant to be conducted in the first 5 years of the general plan, and long-term implementation activities that are meant to be done in years 6 through 10 of the general plan that are set in each chapter. These implementation activities are compiled in the implementation program chapter, which is chapter 12 of the general plan. And this is an example page from Chapter 12 of our general plan. And as you can see, each near-term activity is stated, an objective it's meant to achieve is given, the purpose of the activity is given, a department within the city is assigned lead responsibility for the activity, a priority and completion date was set, and resources and stakeholders were identified. In the general plan progress report, these activities have been listed and a status of the activity has been given of either complete, ongoing, underway, planned, or delayed. And a short report on the progress of the plan is also given. There were 42 near-term activities identified in the general plan. 34 of these, or 81%, are either complete or underway. And it really is important to note what a remarkable accomplishment this is. There are many cities throughout the country that have general plans and they sit on a shelf and collect dust. And for the city to actively implement these activities is really great. And the city has done a really great job implementing the activities in the plan. There were 6 activities that were set as delayed, meaning that they're behind schedule. But this is one of the reasons why creating a progress report is important, because there are unexpected things that come up that cause an activity to be delayed. For example, one of the activities that are delayed is the creation of a historic district. One of the reasons why that's delayed is because the creation of Prop 207, which makes the creation of a historic district very difficult. When the general plan was created in 2003, no one was anticipating the passing of Prop 207. So by showing this in our progress report that, there's this activity that we'd want to do and this is the reason why it's delayed, we're showing the public that we're not forgetting about this activity. It's still really important to us, but there's a specific reason why it's delayed. The general plan also identified 27 long-term implementation activities. These activities are meant to be completed in years 2009 through 2013. However, 6 of these activities have already been addressed. Staff will be currently examining these long-term activities to create a new near-term implementation activity for years 2009 to 2013 that hopefully we can bring to council in the next year. And now I am going to briefly go through each plan element to give you a highlight of some of the activities that have been happening in the city. With the land use element, we had the adoption of the El Rio Watercourse Master Plan, which is a regional planning effort that concluded with the adoption of the plan in 2006 by City Council. Implementation is currently underway and city staff is a major part of that. The city center planning is obviously underway. The specific area plan was approved in 2006. Last year, general plan amendments for the Arizona State Land Department pieces were approved. Preliminary PAD zoning has been submitted to the city, and we should be bringing that to council for consideration this year. The airport master plan was adopted by Goodyear and Phoenix city councils in 2007. Staff is also working with the airport to ensure that we share development information and don't interfere with their operations. And I will go through the general plan amendments later in the presentation. The acquisition of land for a park and ride lot at I-10 and Dysart is currently underway. 255 spaces should be substantially complete by the end of 2009. An intelligent transportation system study is also underway. The ITS study will look at things like information signage, cameras at signals, and create a study for that. The Hacienda Framework Study has been completed and accepted by the MAG Regional Council, and the Hidden Valley Framework Study is underway. Both of these studies are initiating transportation planning in these areas and are looking at the big picture, how highways connect to each other and work with municipal roadway systems. They're also looking at mass transit options. There is a public forum on the Hidden Valley study scheduled for May 15th, and I suggest that you visit the Building Quality Arizona website if you want more details about these plans, which is bqaz.gov. The Parks Master Plan is currently underway and should be brought to council this year for approval. This plan does focus on planning for large community parks and specialty parks. The Waterman Wash Design Guidelines Study is also underway. Waterman Wash cuts diagonally through our mid and southern section of the city. This study is looking how the wash will be treated, maintained, and protected. A water conservation specialist has been hired, and she is working on a water conservation plan and also what the city can do to be a leader in water conservation and education. And you already had a presentation at work session on the Integrated Utilities Master Plan, so I'll leave that to the experts. A grant coordinator has been hired, and he was able to secure $2 million in year one. The GAIN event is an annual event held in cities throughout Arizona to promote community spirit and build safety awareness. This year's event is scheduled for October 18th and is being organized by the Community Services Department. The Housing Rehabilitation Program has been able to invest over $2 million in 88 homes in Goodyear since 1992. The Public Safety Advisory Committee was created in 2005 and charged with making policy recommendations to council regarding public safety expectations and needs. Their final report was presented in 2007 and details recommendations relating to police, fire, and general public safety. The Facilities Master Plan was presented to council in 2007. This plan included a space needs study and created specific recommendations for city-owned facilities and projects. With cost of development, the Capital Improvements Projects budget, or CIP, is updated and brought to council annually. There have also been several impact fee updates since adoption of the general plan, and one is currently underway. The city's dark sky ordinance was adopted under our lighting ordinance, and we did receive an award from Arizona Planning Association for this ordinance. A Brownfields Commission has been created and will provide input and direction in prioritizing sites for assessment and remediation. We are waiting on approval of the plan of action from the EPA. Once we get that, we can begin inventorying sites. And the city has revised its codes recently to mitigate dust generation to establish better air quality in response to the regional efforts to advance better air quality. The Litchfield Revitalization Corridor was created in 2004, and the Redevelopment Vision and Action Plan was presented to council in 2005. This established a redevelopment area and has allowed the city to receive CDBG funding and also helped recruiting the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Along with this, to promote revitalization in our older areas, the Economic Development Department initiated the Facade Grant Program in 2007, and our neighbor Thompson's Funeral Chapel has already taken advantage of this program. The Western Avenue PAD rezone was also adopted to promote commercial revitalization of the northeast corner of Litchfield and Western Avenues. An Arts and Culture Commission has been established and will make recommendations to council on public art projects. The Bullard Wash Bridge is an example of one of these projects. Also, you've by now seen the monument signs and identifier signs that have gone up around the city to add to our community character. Now on to general plan amendments. There have been 18 general plan amendments since approval of the general plan. 17 of these were map amendments and 1 was a text amendment. 13 of these were major amendments and 5 were minor. And the Sonoran Valley General Plan Amendment represents a significant amendment to our general plan area. And on page 38 of the report, there's a summary of all our general plan amendments, which was actually sparked by a request from council to see how these general plan amendments were affecting our build out. And if you look at that page, you can see that the Sonoran Valley GPA alone has added a potential for 90,000 units of the 110,000 units that were added through general plan amendments. And so, as I said, 110,000 dwelling units have been added through these general plan amendments. 90,000 those were from Sonoran Valley alone. The dwelling unit build out is now 255,000 units. And that's, again, for our municipal planning area, not just our annexed area. This means a potential for 300,000 additional residents, which makes the population build out now 630,000. Now, these are only a potential build out numbers based on midpoint density. It is possible and very likely that these developments will develop below the midpoint density. When we do general planning, they're allowed to have their baseline density, and through zoning process, they can build up their density. But when we're doing build out projections, we go ahead and look at the midpoint density. The amendments have also changed the land use composition. The greatest change was in the rural residential land use, which went from 23% of total land use to only 10% of total land use. Open space has increased from 10% of total land use to 26% of total land use, largely due to the BLM lands that we annexed with the Sonoran Valley annexation. And staff has updated our land use map to include all these general plan amendments, which I passed out to all of you. This land use map is also now available on the city's website. The report does include a comprehensive list of major projects that are currently underway in Goodyear, and I won't go through these at that time, but I did want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to visit Economic Development's website, destinationgoodyear.com, which also has great up-to-date information on development happening in Goodyear. Also, there have been 16 zoning ordinance text amendments processed since the creation of the general plan. There have also been over 60 rezones processed since the adoption of the general plan. So as you can see, we've been busy as a city. Also in the report, there's a listing of some of the awards we've received for our planning and development projects. Our city center plan has alone received several awards. This concludes my presentation, but I would like to make a couple of thank yous. First, there was a lot of city staff that helped put this report together, from giving me updates on the activities to making sure it got bound and copied on time. And I'd also, again, like to thank the departments that were assigned activities. Again, a lot of times other cities will assign departments activities, and then they don't get followed through. And our city has done a really great job working interdepartmentally to get the general plan implemented. And I'd also like to thank our Planning and Zoning Commission. We're very fortunate in the city to have a very good Planning and Zoning Commission. They obviously read their materials and take their time to come to commission meetings prepared. And that really makes a huge difference in getting the general plan goals implemented, of having a well-informed commission. And once again, as I said before, I'd like to thank the members of GPAC, which are listed on the PowerPoint now, as well as Kevin Kugler, who was the planning manager at the time, and John Vlamming, who was a consultant on the project. Without the GPAC creating such a good general plan in the first place, we wouldn't be able to implement it so successfully. I'd like to end my presentation with a call to the public. This report, as well as just a one-page executive summary, is available on the city's website, goodyearaz.gov. It's under the Community Development Department in our General Plan section. We've also put the updated land use plan on there, and our general plan is available on the city's website. And we really encourage the public to look at these documents, look at the land use plan, become familiar with them, and if they ever have any questions, to call the Planning and Zoning Department staff. That's what we're there for. We'd be happy to let a potential resident know what development may be happening in their area, let an existing resident know what's going on across the street. Some of these maps can be difficult to wade through, so like I said, planning and zoning staff is there to help inform the public of development projects that are going on, and we're happy to do that. With that, I will conclude my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Any comments from the public? Okay, could I have a motion to...
We are, I should have mentioned, we are looking for council to accept the plan, and the commission did recommend acceptance of the plan.
Okay, we need a motion to accept the 2003-2007 General Plan Progress Report.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion from Councilmember Sousa and a second from Vice Mayor Antoniak. It's open for discussion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
Just a question on some specifics. Said the park and ride study is to be completed in 2009. I thought the park and ride itself would be completed by the end of 2009. Is that just the study?
No, thank you, Councilmember Cavalier. No, the park and ride lot, or a portion of the lot, should be substantially complete by 2009.
Should be that portion, that first phase.
Yes, the first
should be
phase,
completed.
which is 255 spaces, shall be built, ready for people to drive in and park.
Thank you very much.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just kudos. I'm sure the mayor probably shares in the fact, and Gary and others that were on the on the general plan group with, we were all on that, but it's a great, nice consensus, nice document, easy to read, and very concisely puts the whole thing together and where we've been in 5 years. It just amazes me when you throw those statistics up, what we've gotten done. And I tell you, the 7 of us sit up here and take a lot of credit, but it's really most of you in the audience that are doing the day-to-day, day-in, day-out work that really deserve a lot of credit for what we've done in 5 years. It's nice to kind of pause and take a look at it and realize that. One suggestion, and I didn't pick up on this in the early part, but if you haven't, maybe a copy of this, just like this, to all the members, if you haven't done that already, would be nice. With a letter, again, thanking them for their service 5 years ago, and just saying, hey, we want to keep in touch and make sure you know what's going on would be just a nice gesture on our part. And then second, and I just take it as a comment, I don't need a response, but 2-8, transfer of development rights program creation. When you're looking at that, it says staff will be reevaluating to determine if a formal mechanism is needed. I remember a pretty spirited debate about that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there was a debate that wasn't spirited in our group, but that one specifically kind of stood out to me. So please go back and double check the minutes and look at the spirit of that versus the letter of that and the intent that was that the debate created during that time. And if you need some elaboration on that, I'm sure some of us that were involved in that debate can enlighten. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.
John?
Councilmember Souza.
Katie, thank you very much for your personal presentation. Typical of staff.
It's a lot different than the 1995 general plan that we. In fact, I still have a copy of that.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Thank you. Hey, Joe.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I think it was obvious from the presentation that Katie did a wonderful job in putting this report together and making the presentation to Council. I just wanted to make sure that I went on record complimenting her on her fine effort. What you saw was 99% Katie's effort, and I thought it was a good piece of work, and I appreciate the fact that you saw it too. So thank you.
Thank you. It's probably a good time to comment that things have changed. I get many, many compliments about how you folks do your job and the way you handle requests. It's changed. You are responsive. And that's what people tell me.
Yes, I've heard that.
The people out there that come to you are telling me that. So. Okay, we'll go to the last item on our agenda, and that's to consider adoption of an ordinance for restricting parking in residential neighborhoods. Luke Albert. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight I would like to discuss an ordinance to update Article 13-3 of the City Code related to parking restrictions.
Can you get a little closer to the mic? Thanks.
City staff has met with residents and representatives of schools and has received feedback regarding concerns about parking restrictions adjacent to schools and in neighborhoods. And the school officials and residents have requested time of day parking restrictions, and the current ordinance that we have in place does not allow for this type of restriction. Based on the discussion, city staff has reviewed the state statute and ordinances from other cities in order to determine the best way to handle these concerns. Section 13.3.3 of the current city code currently contains the following language. When signs are erected indicating no parking on that side of the street adjacent to any school property, no person shall park a vehicle in any such designated place for 1 hour before school opens until 1 hour after school closes on any school day. This sign is not very intuitive to the traveling public, as there's 4 different elementary and middle school districts in the city. There's also 2 high school districts, so it's not very fair to ask the traveling public to know what 1 hour before school opens and 1 hour after school closes would be. So therefore, we propose to change the language in this section to state, when signs are erected indicating no parking on that side of the street adjacent to any school property, no person shall park a vehicle in any such designated place during the days and times posted by the city on such signs. This will allow us to post signs that state times and days of the week, as opposed to just a kind of a more vague statement about school starting and ending. And we believe this modification is necessary just to make it more clear to the public about the parking restrictions. Finally, regarding neighborhood parking restrictions, parking concerns in neighborhoods were first brought to our attention in meetings with the historic Goodyear Neighborhood Alliance, and a map of kind of the southwestern portion of historic Goodyear is shown on the map there. And these residents have voiced concerns about students from Maricopa Beauty College parking along La Crescenta Avenue, which is the kind of curved street to the south of that map there, and also on adjacent streets nearby La Crescenta. The adoption of this ordinance in conjunction with an official request from the neighborhood for parking restrictions will allow staff to begin a pilot study in which this neighborhood, we would perform a pilot study where we would evaluate the neighborhood and determine if those signs would be an appropriate traffic control measure. This concludes my presentation, and with that, I'd like to open it up for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Luke. Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, could I ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only, please?
Adopt ordinance 08-1113, amending provisions of the Goodyear City Code, Chapter 13, traffic related to restriction of parking in residential neighborhoods.
Could I have a motion?
Mr.
to
Mayor.
approve the ordinance?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move the adoption of ordinance number 08-1113 as read by the city clerk.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Souza and a second from Vice Mayor Antoniak. It's open for discussion. Vice Mayor Antoniak?
Just a quick question. You talked about initiating a parking study for say it again? I forget the name of the street.
I'm sorry, La Crescenta Avenue.
Didn't we do one of these studies for this specific street about 5 years ago? That had, and I'll tell the funny story as to why I know we did a study for this
But
once
nothing's
before.
ever done.
It was the only city document that was in my vehicle when I got hit on I-10 that I kept because it got ran over by a tire, and it was just ironic that a tire track was over the front of the study. So I'm asking I know the answer to the question. I don't know that we need to spend money other than just dust something off that's on a shelf. And I know this doesn't come with a deal, but I think we've looked at this issue down with the community, not the community college, but the beauty college, multiple times. So help me understand why we might spend more money on another study versus me going and pounding some signs in to satisfy the neighborhood.
Mayor Vice Member Antoniak, I'm Christine McMurray in the Public Works Department, the Administrative Services Manager, and this situation has come up before. As a matter of fact, it's about 3 years ago that we journeyed through the issues related to the beauty school students parking over in the neighborhood. It came to the fore. We evaluated it. I can't say we ever contracted a study. I can't. I hope you still have the document.
It's sitting on my shelf at work.
Okay.
The irony of it just explained itself.
Let me assure you, we're not putting any
Okay.
additional money into a study to analyze this neighborhood. We are very confident, and we've had some excellent discussions with the Neighborhood Alliance. As a matter of fact, they're meeting tomorrow night, and we're hoping that we get an update from them on what their interest is, what the direction they would like to take is. So we are identifying this group as a potential pilot to enact some of the guidelines in this ordinance. So this will give us the ability to do that.
I believe it was titled the on-street parking. It was something about, there was on-street in the title. I'm sure if the clerk's office searches, we'll probably find it
I
somewhere.
promise you, I will look for that tomorrow,
Let's not
Vice
spend
Mayor
more money
Antonio.
on something we've already done.
I want to see it too, so.
Yeah, trust me, it's fun.
Thank you.
Councilmember Souza?
Mr. Mayor, as the representative of the council to the historic Goodyear Alliance, this thing has come up almost every meeting that I've attended, time and time and time again. And finally, I said, enough is enough. A young lady was there when I did this, and I said, we've got to do something about this because I'm sick and tired of hearing the same old over and over again. And this is a result, and I want to thank Travis for putting this thing together and being before the Historic Goodyear Alliance on many, many occasions, and hearing what I've heard time and time again since I've been a representative of the council to this organization. They're concerned, and subsequently, the college has, or the school has been told time and time again to try to cooperate with us. They do have parking facilities available to them, which they don't activate. So this is one way to make our citizens a little more happier and to answer the problem that they keep bringing up to the council relative to an aggravating situation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Cavalier.
Question I have is 13XD3. The parking for weddings, funerals, special events pursuant to a permit issued as approved by the chief of police and authorized designee. But it doesn't say anywhere else in the document that there is a permit, the cost of the permit, or how do you get a permit?
Mayor, Councilmember Cavalier, that actually is some language that we removed. I'm not sure if that's, we actually removed that statement from the ordinance that we plan on adopting late last week because of discussions with the chief of police.
So this one will be removed?
That is actually removed from there.
Thank you.
Did I get the motion correct?
Yes, sir.
It's provisions, amending provisions.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, further discussion. Okay, all those nope, roll call vote.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Hollins. Aye. Councilmember Osborne. Aye. Vice Mayor Antonio.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Now move to comments, current events from council members. Councilmember Osborne.
You know, this past 3 days have been one of those times where, as an elected official, we truly thank our citizens for putting this here because the experiences that we had were phenomenal. Starting with last night, going to the Estrella Symphony with the beautiful backdrop of the mountains.
Estrella Symphony.
The symphony and that event always appeals to all senses. And Saturday, I was with the mayor and one of our planning and zoning commissioners, Carol DeBroker, and Mr. Sousa, and our new manager at the regional cooperation event of the fire departments. Tolleson, Goodyear, Avondale, and Buckeye all got together, and I always had a extreme thankfulness for the police and fire departments, but once I was up in a bucket 94 feet above the ground in the ladder, I had a newfound appreciation for the bucket heads that go up there, and then being suited all out. Friday, I got to spend the morning with our Parks Department and the kindergartners of the, I think it's the, I know I'm going to mess this up, the Felix Alicio Elementary School, I take it. And we planted trees at Loma Linda Park for Arbor Day, so that was exciting. So those are the fun things that this council gets to do. But Thursday night, I was at the Wildflower Ranch annual HOA meeting, and that will lead me into a staff question coming up next. Thank you.
Okay. I'd certainly second your comments on the fire department and police department's efforts.
I know that the mayor sweats.
Yeah,
Oh, we all did in those outfits.
I perspire.
Sweat. Here, how you call it.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just a thanks to the staff that worked. I know late hours last night and early hours this morning from Public Works and police and fire. Even saw a lady that had fallen down in a very nice coordinated response and very quiet and respectful response last night at the event. So appreciated that. Second, wanted to thank my colleagues and report back. While I was gone and you all adopted the skate park and deal for the rental per hour type environment that may exist out there for birthday parties and the like, One, thank you to Public Works staff and Deputy City Manager staff for reacting so quickly. I made that phone call, I think, about 9 days in advance of the ordinance coming to your table here. So I don't know how many of you knew how quickly the staff responded
Oh, you're
to
renting
that,
it?
to the renting of
Oh.
that facility. But that idea was citizen-generated. I got a phone call from a father who was wanting to have a birthday party and had made a phone call to staff and was kind of like, why can't I rent it? If it's closed for a couple of hours, why can't I pay the staff? So skate park is open for rent. And those folks that maybe don't have the hours, they can't be there during certain hours, but they want to have a birthday party or that sort of thing. It was a great response from staff and from council, taking what typically is a negative in terms of lack of budget to keep it open and turning it into a positive for those folks that want it open, being able to pay for the service and get it open. So keep your eyes open for ideas like that as we move forward into tighter budget times. But thank you. And thank you from the parents and the friends and the family that got to experience that. They really enjoyed it.
Okay, Councilmember Cavalier.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. One, question to staff, why the,
The questions are later.
okay, questions are later, all right. Okay, at this point, I think, for the record, I need to state that over the weekend, I received a telephone call, a survey, and it appeared to be the survey was from the city of Goodyear. And then this afternoon, I received a telephone call from a citizen who said, why is the city doing a survey on the progress of the city, and is the mayor doing a good job, and is the vice mayor doing a good job, and there's several other questions. But this person assumed that the city of Goodyear was doing this survey. And for the record, I want to state that this was a private company, because I inquired when that survey was, when they called me on the survey, and I inquired, it's a private company doing a survey for someone, and at this point, it is not the city of Goodyear, but that needs to be stated for the record.
Thank you. Okay, now opportunity for inquiries of staff. No, it's city manager's turn. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. A couple things. First of all, Phoenix Goodyear Airport was named the best airport in the state of Arizona, and so that's quite an award to receive. The award notes that the airport has served the Super Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, Phoenix Coyotes games, and NASCAR events. Secondly, the airport traffic control tower at Phoenix Goodyear Airport also received a major honor when it was named the Contract Tower Association Tower of the Year by the American Association of Airport Executives. The tower is operated by Serco, which contracts with the Federal Aviation Administration. So those were two good awards that we recently received, the airports recently received. Secondly, I want to note that although you didn't ask for this, we will look at the option purchase just to determine whether or not there is something that can be done for the Wood family, although I don't think there is, because that's really between their accountant and their attorneys. Thirdly, there's a letter, you asked for a letter to all members of GPAC with a copy of the plan update, and we will see to it that it's done. And fourth, we'll look at the debate on the transfer development rights and see what there is there that we have to resurface. And then finally, we'll look at the study done on the parking for the beauty school in the historic Goodyear neighborhood and report back to you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Inquiries of staff by council. Councilmember Osborne.
At the Wildflower HOA meeting, I was asked by a citizen, because he had read the In Focus and the wonderful article by Mr. Sousa about our graffiti ordinance. And this citizen was very upset that, ironically, the same month that that came out, we lost our graffiti officer. He thinks we fired him. I told him that wasn't the case. But what's upsetting to me is I didn't really have the answers to give him, because I had only heard by hearsay that he was gone in the first place, and he was upset that why would we pass an ordinance and get this position filled, and then now that position's gone, and I couldn't answer our citizen as to, well, budget cuts, we can't have him now, but in lieu of that, this is the other steps we're taking because this officer is no longer with us. We need to know as council when that type of decision is not any longer with us to be able to answer those. And so I need to know so I can answer the citizen's concern as to what we're going to do for graffiti. Now, I will add that nice enough that a HOA board member did state, hey, I go and I take a picture of the graffiti and I give it to the police officers and I paint it myself. And so I really, give him kudos for that. But the truth of the matter is here I was put on the stand by a citizen and I had no answer to give him because I didn't even know that was really had occurred.
Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Osborne, we passed a city ordinance without staff because it was done in the middle of the year, and we were told to come back this next fiscal year and ask for staff to implement the ordinance. Based on current economic situation, we were told no additional staff would be added. We are working on a report for graffiti and what measures we're going to implement this next year to help address that, to include volunteers, asking HOAs to have spotters, graffiti spotters, to call it in for us, and working up some ways to address that in the community. And you will be getting that report next week.
Oh, good. It was timing. I mean, that was the.
We will have that for you at the beginning of next week.
Okay. Councilmember Souza, and then we'll go to Councilmember Cavalier.
Along those lines, there is, I found that Avondale, in talking with one of the council members the other day at the firefighters event, there is a private organization that does this type of elimination of graffiti. This was a telephone call. And I understand from that conversation with Mr. McDowell that the cost of this service is very nominal. So he's going to get me the name of that organization, and then I'll pass it on to you. And let's see what the cost would be to hire somebody like this to have them impact on this problem that we're having in the city. Now, I know that when I call certain individuals in the city and tell them, that somebody has called me about graffiti, that they do respond. Public Works responds like right now. But naturally, they can't respond to every call that we get. So I think it's important that we get somebody online in position so that they can respond to these calls immediately.
We're verging on an open meeting issue there. You're starting to talk policy.
All right.
But you got the point.
I get the point. If you'll follow up with me,
yeah,
Councilmember.
Will do.
Okay. Councilmember Holland, Councilmember Cavalier.
One more.
We've got one more issue.
A lot of questions.
Okay, well, we'll get back to you.
Okay, fine.
All right.
I have a question about the new bridge, Cotton Lane Bridge. The lights are on that bridge 24 hours a day. Is that a test? I've had several people contact me and say, well, why are these lights on? So I went down there the other day and they're on.
Assume it's burning, isn't it? It's typical.
I don't know. That's my question. They can check that out.
Yeah, we will. It'll be checked.
That's
a good question. Okay, Councilmember Souza.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, going through the report that we get from our constituencies, I noted there are 49 weed calls to the city in this report. 49. That's a tremendous amount of weed calls. And frankly, our citizens are getting a little disturbed with the comment from staff that it's because of rain. Okay. Well, it hasn't rained in this city for, I think, it's going on 67 days now. I believe we have to respond a little more promptly to these issues. I know it's a serious problem, and we need to hire somebody and I think if maybe we could do the same thing with the correctional institutions that we're doing for street work. If they have a crew that can help us out in this endeavor, I think we ought to try that, if they're available.
Mayor, council members, a great idea. What we've done, Councilman Sousa, is we reallocated our Paravel crews. We have 2 of them. We've allocated them back on weed control, along with a handful to 15 staff members to get that under control. So we're working on all the right-of-way, the median islands right now to knock down the weeds and then spray them down, and hopefully you'll see some of that impact here in the next week or 2. But we've redeployed all staff to get that under control.
Now, how about the field that's on Test Drive and Litchfield Road, that the one that's wet to there? What can we do about that?
My understanding is code enforcement is working with the property owner to get that under control as well. There's a balancing act related to PM10, and some of that growth on there helps contribute to some level of control. So we're working with the property owner through code enforcement to address that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And just to add to the answer, I think one of the concerns are all these, not just public properties, but foreclosed, vacant properties throughout the city. And I know Jim's looking into that, too, as to your proper response to that.
On the foreclosed properties, we have, code compliance has met with the legal department, and we are going to start abatement process where we can pay a company to come in and clean up the property and then lien the properties that are foreclosed, and we are working towards that.
Great. Good. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.